1 year ago, I would have said that could never be me. Like, that could never be me. I could never be the person that struggled to get out of bed in the morning. I could never be the person that wasn't joyful, or I could never be the person that couldn't figure out what it was that they like or lost themselves. I could never be the person that didn't feel motivated to get up and be out and explore and connect with people. Like I would have said with so much conviction and certainty, that could never be me. And it's so funny, when I was younger, I remember my grandmother even used to say, like, never say never. 1 year ago, that I know too much. I've come too far. Had so many opportunities. I have so many frameworks, and I have so many teachings, and I have so much knowledge, and I have so many practices. That could never be me. 1 year ago, I would have said, like, I've traveled the world and I've met so many incredible people and I know so many amazing things, and I'm qualified and I have this job and I've done that job and I know this person, and that could never be me. The person that cannot even figure out or remember what it is that they like. I have always been the joyful person in the room. Like, I have always been the person that, like, immediately people are like, oh my gosh, you're so warm, you have so much joy, you're so happiness. Even today, um I met with someone whom I've known for quite some time, since I've been here in Bali, and they were describing me to their friend, like, oh my gosh, she's just so joyful and she has so much joy and so much lightness, and I'm like, wow, I don't even feel like that inside myself. I can't connect to that version of me in this moment, or that quality that I know is very much possible within me, because it has expressed itself before. But I was just thinking that, wow, when we come to these moments of feeling lost, confused, not motivated, knowing all the things, some of us might feel like we know things, and some of us might not feel like we have tools and resources and all the stuff. But what is the root of this feeling of lostness? And as I was hearing this friend describe me, I was also thinking to myself about how these versions of ourselves can change over time, or these identities that we build around ourselves, the way we know ourselves, the way we see ourselves, the way our lives are. 5 years ago, when I was in America, I was not, I mean, the way I dressed, the way I walked, the way I talked, what I ate, like my entire existence of of Akia then is nothing. Like, they wouldn't, if they stood side by side, you would be like, what, girl? And so when I think back to all of the job I had, how I would have described myself, the things I used to do and like, and the way I used to be, and all of the things that we can use to identify ourselves by. And all of those things started falling apart slowly but surely. The job, I ended up resigning from the job. It didn't feel good. Like, I couldn't, I couldn't be in that type of, I couldn't relate to that type of, that way of working anymore. the way I was dressing in my clothing, I also, I started to see something different in all of these things, and the way I was socializing and the things I used to do. So many of those structures broke apart and they changed, or the way I was relating to them changed. People that I was friends with, things changed, and so much of my identity of who I thought I was built on all of that stuff. And so when all of that kind of like the rug got pulled from under me, then like, who am I? Who am I? Like, I thought I was the business manager, and I thought I was the fashion designer, and I thought that I was such and such's girlfriend, and I thought, and like all of these things that I thought, and they fell apart. And then so I packed my bags and I went to travel the world. I went to, I moved to Bali. I started to go to India and all of these places, and somehow ended up on a spiritual journey, which was not my intention, by the way. And I'll save that for another video. It was never my intention to go into wellness and spirituality and all of this stuff. This was never something that was on my list of things. At this point, I was just like, I just want to travel the world. And so I did that. And then an identity built around traveling the world. And I became this travel blogger. And I was going to this place and that place. And people would write me because I was the travel blogger. And I was also, cute, and I did cool things. And I was all of these things. So there was an identity that also got shaped around that version of me as this travel blogger and this girl who's growing her account and all of these type of things. And especially I became much more involved on social media and Instagram during that time, which that can really strengthen this identity of who we think we are, especially when it's so solidified into this place, onto this app, and there's a image that we create of ourselves and we show up a particular way there, and we have a certain motivation behind the things we say, and while we, maybe we're trying to build the this or the that, or sell the this or the that, or maybe we genuinely have something that we feel like we know a lot about, and then we become that thing, the teacher or the fitness coach or the content creator, whatever these roles are, we become those things. And so then there came a point where I also couldn't, that also wasn't sustainable for me, because I also realized that, yeah, no, yeah, no, this is a no for me. I would be traveling. I had this zest for traveling, and at some point I would feel myself being somewhere and wondering, like, why am I even here? And realizing that I was there because somebody else from social media, like out this subtle influence of something I saw, and I was like, what is this even actually a place that I want to be? And I saw that so clearly once. And so then I came out of that role as well, and I deleted my social media. I got off of Instagram, I got off of TikTok, and I had went viral a few times, and my following was growing and all these things. And again, lost, this feeling of lostness. Who am I? And what am I doing? And like, it's the rug gets pulled from under you because you think you are whatever this is. And I also during that time was in a relationship, and that relationship was also very much public on social media. And so that also, when that relationship ended, that was also just another, this feeling of lostness and confusion about who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I traveled the world, and I thought that was the answer. And then I started to study. I started to become a lot more internal, about more aware, or trying to understand more about my internal world. What is actually happening inside of me? What is what is creating this feeling of lack of purpose? For me, that was one of the biggest things for me. Just this feeling of lack of purpose, this feeling of lostness, this feeling of I don't know who I am or what I am supposed to be doing. And I think for me, because I kept seeing myself change so often, I saw myself change so often from I'm this and now I'm this, and I could see the roles and things changing. And so I knew that like that can't be it. And so I started to naturally, I fell into this space of like yoga and meditation and just wanting to understand what the hell is going on. Like, what is going on here? And really starting from this question of who am I? And so now, today, even as I navigate now a very transitional period of my life, and I am struggling to even connect with things that I like, and struggling to really find this sense of motivation. And I will say the shift, the ability to be here, the ability to discern between thoughts that I'm having and a story that I have and roles and responsibilities, and to be able to come back to something and to know, okay, okay. And so I actually want to show you guys something. Hold on. Be back. There it is. And so actually, this is called Alive. It's actually a game, a card game that I made years ago, and it was called Stop Waiting for Friday for those of you who've been here for a while. And so I actually, on my journey, this has been a very important part of my journey. Funny enough, this box of cards, of questions, because I always was asking myself questions when all of these transitions were happening about who am I and what is going on, and just curious about people, especially when I started to travel. And so I used to write notes in my notes app thing on the phone, on my iPhone. And it would just be questions that I was wondering about people and about things and about life. And I would just write these questions down. And so as I was traveling, I started to ask them to people. And then eventually, after asking them to people, like people I didn't know and strangers, and just about this human condition, about our humanity. And I would connect with people in this way. And so then when I got to Bali, I made it into an actual physical thing. I took it out of my notes and put it into this box. And this is something that I've been just playing with for a very long time, for years. And I actually just redesigned it again. This is the last time I'm doing that because I'm stuck in this phase of redesigning. Anyway, I brought these cards because there's a question here that came to me a while ago, like as I was studying and traveling and doing all the things. I have to find it though. No idea. Hmm. Okay, let's sort this out. Would it be in life? Maybe it would be under the one that's life. I have no idea. Okay, nope. Where is it? Life, freedom, maybe? So each one of there's like different topics on the card game. This one's money. It's questions about money. This one's love. These ones are about time, and they're like questions related to that specific topic. And so I'm looking for a particular one that I always struggle to find somehow. Oh, here it is. So this one, this is these ones are more like truth or dare. So it's a truth or dare kind of game. So there are things that kind of, the intention is that it brings us back to this like aliveness, like this appreciation of life. And it's in the form of a card game because just playing, just to be able to play and talk to another person and explore and experience, or even sometimes just asking myself these questions and journaling myself is very helpful. And so this one says, who are you? Do not mention your job, social status, awards, education, physical appearance, relationship status, belief systems, race, or age. This was a question that came, most of these questions, they're just literally from my life's journey of questions and things and experiences. But this one, especially during this moment, this time, this point in time for me where this feeling of lostness comes up, this feeling of losing things or feeling like I've lost things that somehow my identity has been intertwined with in who I think I am, um, or that made me me, these very transient things and things that come and go by nature, but somehow, sometimes I envision it, I say like, sometimes how I like to imagine it is that, let's say this is me. This is the real, let's say the real me. And then this is the jobs and career or the business, and these are the relationships, and these are all the things that I like, and these are, let's say, all the rewards and things that I've gained over my lifetime that just make me feel important, and they're things that I've accomplished, and they are important things. And let's say, what else is here? This is my belief systems and everything that I've learned and I believe, and it must be true, and these type of things. And so then everything becomes like this. So now it's very difficult to know me versus things and stuff, that and everything here is changing, because that's just the nature of all these things, they change. And so because the job, maybe with the job or the career or something changes, maybe you don't like it anymore, maybe it's not a fit anymore, maybe you get fired, or maybe you decide to resign, maybe you decide it's not for you anymore. And then the relationship, maybe for whatever reason, it could be through death, it can be through circumstances, it can be through situations, you and the person, and it could even be friendships, maybe you just drift apart, maybe distance or whatever. So then these things, all the things, let's say all of these things that are transient, and they can come and they can go, and sometimes they're there for a good time, or sometimes they're for a long time, and so who knows, and these things, and they're no longer like, they're trying to go, they need to go, and we're like, because they're so integrated into who we are, and so it becomes very difficult. And then once they are gone, then it's how to be with this. What is this even? How to, the of course lostness is the response. Of course, the feeling of lostness, the feeling of I don't know, the feeling of what do I do? Who am I? Where do I go? And it's not to say that these things are not important things, or that we shouldn't have a connection to them or relationships with these things. We absolutely should. Over time, this question, but it is something to explore over time, because when things change, and they will, you have some ground, some foundation, something stable enough to land, somewhere stable enough to land. And honestly, for me, these last few months have been, wow, they have been hard. Whatever this is, I've never experienced it before. And this is why I said, I would have said this can never be me, because I've never experienced this before in this way. It's a very unique experience that although things have changed for me so much in my life. And also I will say that a lot of the ways in which things changed have been because I was very excited about those changes. Like it was almost as if I'm the one who pushed the button for those changes to happen. Like I'm the one who quit the job and I'm the one who packed my bags to travel the world. And so these were changes that happened and definitely big shifts that I had to undergo in the way that I live and the way that I see the world. I pushed the button for them. So when things that we don't push the button for come, to be prepared to part ways with things that we don't push the button for, it just happens. It happens suddenly or maybe progressively. Over time we start to kind of feel like we're losing the like this isn't me anymore or this isn't what I want to do anymore. Like sometimes we can spend years getting a degree, 12 years of our life, 4 years, 5, 6, 7, all these years studying something, doing something, and then one day decide I don't want to anymore, or it's not for me anymore. I would like to try something new, or it might just not even with us deciding, it might inevitably happen. And then, of course, we feel lost. Of course, we don't know how to label ourselves, what to label ourselves, what to do with ourselves in these type of transitional periods of our lives. And so, of course, the feeling of lostness, it's a journey of really creating that foundation to land on when things that we identify with, relationships and situations and experiences and things that happen to us and all of the things that make us who we are, when those things might start to change, what do we do and where do we go? Where do we land for safety? Where do we ground? Where do we discover again? Where do we create again? And that's the beautiful opposition to this. And this is also another thing that's been keeping me alive through this, is also looking at the other side of lostness, which is possibility, which is discovery. Discovery and finding things and creating things and all of the these things that you don't even identify with yourself because you never been there, you never done that, you never seen that, you never heard of that, you never read that. And connecting to that sense of discovery again. And so for me right now, these next few months, I don't even know, I don't want to give it a time frame because I have no idea what this is and how long it stays. And I don't want to give deadlines to this experience, but allowing myself to return back to what is it, or let's say not even, maybe not even return back to, but discover this sense of discovery, the sense of discovery of there's so many infinite possibilities of things out there, and not being discouraged that, oh my God, I can't connect to the things that I thought I liked so much. I thought I loved these things, and now I find that I don't know if I do. I am going back to aliveness, allowing myself to be alive, allowing myself to discover. I'm playing again. I'm practicing playing again. I'm practicing healing through living. I'm going to be playing and asking myself questions again and discovering myself again, discovering the things that matter to me again, allowing myself to be alive. And on this box, it says, are you willing to live fully? And it's so funny that, like I said, if you would have asked me, this person that is just so joyful and so this and so that and all these things, and has this card game sitting literally right in her room that she created and still not really be feeling alive. And so today I was just looking at it. I've actually been carrying it around with me, weirdly enough, all day. And like, okay, we are going to just pull a card a day and see what happens. This is about, I think, 50 plus cards here on this card game deck. So I am excited. I'm excited. This actually just gave me a little bit of, it gave me a little bit of If you have been feeling lost, if you have recently had some transitions in your life, if you are just trying to discover, find a sense of liveliness, a sense of joy, a sense of ease, or just trying to become unstuck, I invite you to come here. I'm going to be playing, I keep doing the box the wrong way. I'm going to be playing Alive here on my channel for the next, until all the cards run out. We're going to be playing together. And so we're going to be dancing. We're going to be singing. We are going to be going out into the world. We're going to be having dares, going out into the world and doing those dares. We are going to be journaling, and we are going to be answering some deep questions about things that we've probably never been asked before. We are going to be trying new things that we probably have been wanting to try and haven't done before. We are going to be discovering ourselves. We're going to be discovering new parts of ourselves, letting go old parts of ourselves, letting go things that we don't need, or stuck things, just becoming unstuck together. And we're going to be playing Alive doing it. So I will see you here tomorrow, and we'll start officially playing Alive.